Well, we've got a couple interesting debates playing out in the cruising community. The first one deals with itinerary changes and fairness to cruise customers. And number two deals with active military personnel and whether or not they should be allowed to break the rules. Whether they should be allowed to break the rules on cruise ships. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I am your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face. Before we jump into the big debates, let's talk about a couple cruise news stories. First cruise news story, very interesting. MSC Cruise Line is celebrating that it has serviced 500,000 customers in Brazil. The 2022-2023 Brazilian season kicked off for MSC back in November with the arrival of the MSC Fantasia, and remarkably, 4 more cruise ships joined the Fantasia to service those 500,000 passengers. We're talking the MSC Harmonia, the MSC Seaview, the MSC Preziosa, and the MSC Seashore. These cruises were interesting. They sailed from 5 different home ports. MSC offered a total of 142 cruises to different ports in Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. The sailing season was so successful for MSC in South America, they're going to do it again next year, bringing 5 ships back to the region. What I think will be really fascinating if we see other cruise ships trying to deploy inventory to this area. Certainly 500,000 passengers kind of proves the concept that there can be cruises in and around South America. Have you had any experience with South American sailings? Is this something that is interesting to you? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 2, sad story coming out of Japan, where a cruise ship pilot has lost his life in the exchange between the pilot boat and the cruise ship. If you're unfamiliar with the process, harbors have these pilots who can navigate vessels into the harbor. They've got the experience, the expertise, how to get the vessels through the channels, get them docked at the harbor. And what happens is a small pilot boat will come alongside, say, like a large cruise ship, and the pilot will transfer from the pilot boat to the cruise ship. Usually this happens by a door or a hatch opening on the cruise ship, and then they will jump up from the pilot boat onto this hatch. It's different depending on the configuration of the cruise ship. But sadly, recently, as this exchange was being made on the Diamond Princess, 69-year-old harbor pilot did not make the exchange and fell into the water. He was recovered from the water. However, 2 hours past that recovery, he did pass away at the hospital. This is really sad because this is so out of the ordinary. These exchanges happen between pilot vessels and cruise ships all the time. It's the way that cruising is done. And so this makes this kind of doubly tragic because it's way outside of the norm. I certainly extend my thoughts and prayers to the family of the pilot that passed away. Yeah, it's very sad. Now let's talk about a Chicago man who lost $11,000 after canceling a cruise. Harold McRae booked a cruise with Viking Cruises this summer. Part of the itinerary included a very important stop to him at Dakar in Senegal. He was notified that because of port closures that the stop in Dakar would not happen, and he wanted to cancel his cruise. It was close enough to his cruising date where he would only receive a 25% refund. Unhappy with that outcome, he took it up with the third-party travel insurance company that he had engaged for a policy prior to the cruise. However, his claim was denied, saying that his cancellation reason was not covered under their cruise cancellation policy. Now, for seasoned cruisers, none of this should be a surprise. We know that part of our cruising contract says very plainly that even though you were sold a certain itinerary, the cruise line does not guarantee that itinerary, and that itinerary is subject to change. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, just because you book a cruise itinerary does not mean that you will keep to that itinerary. It's all spelled out very plainly in the cruise contract. And so, of course, there's no way that this gentleman is entitled to a full refund just because he does not like the fact that his itinerary changed. That is what the is, but the question is it right? Should the cruise companies allow people to cancel their cruise if they do not like an itinerary change? Is that even feasible for the cruise company, or would it be chaos? Would you have people canceling cruises right and left? Do you wish this was the policy, or do you think the policy has to be what it is? Leave a comment below. Now, we got to talk about the active military personnel who is looking to break cruise rules. But before I do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. All right, here's the deal. There is an active military member that will soon be cruising on Carnival Cruise Line. Now, Carnival Cruise Line has an area dedicated to adults 21 years of age and older called the Serenity area. The active military member in question is only 18 years old and therefore is ineligible to use the Serenity area on their upcoming Carnival cruise. Recognizing that this would be the scenario in advance, the active military member reached out to Carnival brand ambassador John Heald. In his message, he basically says, look, I'm out here serving my country. I'm protecting the freedoms of others. I should be allowed to have access to the Serenity area because of my military service. Now, at first glance, the answer is pretty simple and cut and dry. The answer is, hey there, active military person. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you for protecting the freedoms and rights of others. However, there is a rule in place, and unfortunately, you are too young to be on the Serenity deck. But of course, I guess the broader philosophical question is, if this person, this young person, is willing to put themselves, their lives on the line to protect the freedoms of others, should they not have the ability to break the cruise ship rules? I feel like some would say yes. I feel like some would say no. It's a weird scenario because you would think that this person that's so dedicated to their military service would be interested in not breaking the rules. I don't know. I think it kind of opens up the box. Should there be exceptions to these cruise ship rules? What about the aspiring police officer or fireman or the teacher who's shaping the minds of the future, or the person that's in med school? Should they not be allowed to go on the Serenity deck? But here's what I know. And while not advocating anybody break the rules, I've never seen anybody get carded on the Serenity deck. What do you think? Do you think the rules are there for a reason and everyone should follow them? Do you think there should be exceptions for military service? Do you think the cruise line should do a better job of making sure that the people that are in the adults only area meet the age requirement? I don't know. Interesting stuff. Leave a comment below. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. Sure hope you enjoyed it. You can do me a favor by hitting the like button and checking out this video that YouTube recommends next. This is Tony for La Lido Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.